Fellow South Africans, we need to have an honest and uncomfortable conversation. Because what is happening in our townships right now may feel like a solution to many frustrated people. But in reality, we are slowly damaging our own economy.
South Africa is the anchor economy. Mr. President, don't allow vigilantism to be what defines how you deal with illegality. It is true that every country wants to document all visitors who are in their country.
So they should be honest, because they are in a country. They must respect the country and tell us the truth. If he's here legally or not legally, then they must say.
What is happening in South Africa?
You know, when this issue arose on the 6th day of March, I wrote a letter to President Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yes.
And my argument was, South Africa is the anchor economy. Mr. President, don't allow vigilantism to be what defines how you deal with illegality. It is true that every country wants to document all visitors who are in their country. But you don't allow half-naked individuals to be running around the streets of Durban or Johannesburg, moving from shop to shop, trying to determine who is documented or who is not documented. And you don't allow them, particularly when you know that they are using derogatory terms, makwere kwere habane. They are telling Africans, leave. When I wrote that letter, I received several letters from South Africans.
Okay.
Some of them were very angry with me, and I responded to each one of them with history. Some of them then apologized. I told them, you cannot be in a position where you are telling everybody to go, and some of you are saying documented, some of you are saying all must go, and you are creating an environment where you instill fear in everybody. You are looting shops and all these. And none of the South African leading politicians, I listened to them, they were trying to justify the unjustifiable. And their claim is that fellow Africans are taking away jobs from them. A complete lie. Fellow Africans are creating jobs for them. If you've gone to South Africa, see individuals from Somalia, from Ethiopia, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Kenya. They are the ones who are creating jobs where there were no opportunities, or there appear to be no opportunity. They saw them and they are creating jobs. So even if they were not documented, I would regularize them because they are adding value to the economy.
True.
But because, and permit me to say this very painfully, black South Africans are suffering from what is called the Stockholm Syndrome. They love their tormentors who are white. That is why it is not even a friend of me corrected me. It is Africans that they do not want. It is the whites who still control over 70% of their land. It is the whites who run an enclave called Orania, where blacks are not allowed.
Fellow South Africans, we need to have an honest and uncomfortable conversation. Because what is happening in our townships right now may feel like a solution to many frustrated people. But in reality, we are slowly damaging our own economy, our own future, and even the country's position throughout the African continent. Yes, unemployment is real. Poverty is real. Crime is out of control. Illegal immigration is a serious issue that the government must deal with properly and lawfully. But listen very carefully. Destroying foreign-owned shops, threatening workers, attacking street vendors, and chasing African foreigners out of communities is not fixing the country. That's not fixing the country. But then it is weakening the country. Many people don't realize this. The township economy survives because money exchanges hands. Money circulates between different people. That Somali shop owner buys stock from South African wholesalers. That Zimbabwean mechanic rents from a South African landlord. That Ethiopian trader uses South African transport services That Nigerian barber pays electricity, taxi fare, and local workers. Now, when violence starts, obviously we have seen shops close, businesses flee, stock disappears, prices rise, landlords loses income, local workers loses jobs, customers suffer. Even those hustlers, in the auction, they suffer because they stock from these shops. And then what happens? The same poor South African community becomes poorer and poorer. After all, you cannot grow an economy through fear. You cannot create jobs through intimidation. You cannot build a nation through hatred. But let us even go deeper. South Africa is not isolated from the African continent. South Africa is not isolated from the rest of the continent. South African businesses are spread throughout the African continent, as you all know. We've got banks throughout the continent, cell phone companies, supermarkets, mining companies, retail chains, insurance companies, logistics companies. South African corporations make billions across the African continent. Now think carefully. What happens when African countries constantly see videos of Africans being attacked in South Africa? Resentment grows. African continent governments will begin losing trust in South Africa if they haven't lost it. Tourists will avoid South Africa. Trade relations will weaken. Business partnerships will become politically sensitive. Some African consumers may even begin boycotting South African companies if they haven't started already. I've seen it in Nigeria and many other countries in Africa. They've already started boycotting South African companies. And remember, many South African companies operating across African continent employ South Africans either directly or indirectly. If continental relations deteriorate, you know what will happen? Investment opportunities will shrink, exports will suffer, regional cooperation will become weak, and South African jobs will become vulnerable too. Africa is becoming increasingly interconnected economically through continental trade agreements and regional markets. South Africa should be leading the African continent economically. I mean, honestly, we should be leading the rest of the continent economically speaking. So South Africa should be attracting investment from across the continent. South Africa should be building influence through innovation, manufacturing, and trade. But every xenophobic attack damages that image. And international investors are also watching everything. When investors see burning shops, mobs demanding papers, intimidation, and instability, you know what they think? You know what they think? They don't just think foreigners are being attacked. They think this country is unstable for business. That's what they think. They think South Africa is unstable for investment and for business. And when investors pull away, factories will not be built. Businesses will stop expanding. Jobs will disappear. The economy slows even further. Then frustration will grow again, over and over again. And then the cycle repeats itself. Let us be honest. Many South Africans are angry for real reasons. People feel abandoned by the government. People feel excluded from economic opportunities. Communities are struggling with crime, unemployment, and collapsing services. Border control failures have created frustration. These concerns are real. But the real enemies destroying the country are corruption, state capture, poor leadership, collapsing municipalities, weak education systems, criminal syndicates, economic inequalities, and youth unemployment. The poor foreigner in a township did not create Eskom collapse. The poor foreigner did not steal billions through corruption. The poor foreigner did not destroy municipalities. The poor foreigner did not collapse state-owned enterprises. We fought apartheid because we believed in dignity, humanity, and justice. Now imagine becoming a society where ordinary civilians stop people in the street demanding identity documents like vigilantes. That is not nation building. That is social decay. This does not mean borders should be open. I don't mean that. Every sovereign country has the right to secure its borders, deport undocumented immigrants lawfully, fight crime, and prioritize citizens in economic policy. But there's a huge difference between law enforcement and mob justice. A functional country uses police, uses home affairs, the courts, intelligence agencies, and lawful immigration systems. Not mobs, not fear, not violence, not vigilantism. Because once mob justice becomes normal, eventually nobody is safe. Even South Africans will be affected by mob justice. Even now, South Africans are affected by mob justice. Today it is foreigners. Tomorrow it becomes tribes, as we have seen. Then political opponents, then ordinary South Africans themselves. History has shown this many times, even now. I mean, as a country, we don't need civil conflict. We need rebuilding. We need stronger borders. We need economic growth. We need factories. We need entrepreneurship. We need education. We need investment. We need skills development and honest leadership, not hatred. Because in the end, a poor South African mother and a poor, foreign mother are both trying to survive in a broken economy. If we destroy our township economy, damage continental trade relations, and isolate ourselves from the rest of Africa through violence and hatred, everybody loses. South Africans, we must wake up before anger destroys the very country we are trying to save.
We started in January telling abantu bokufika ukuthi they need to give us space, we need to sort out our things ezweni lethu. So ke sithi ngomhla ka 30 June usuku lokugcina sikhuluma nomuntu sithi hamba uye ngakini ngoba thina siyobe sesiqala imisebenzi yethu yangaphakathi ezweni. So ke asifuni ukushayisana nomuntu sibe senza into zethu zangaphakathi ezweni.
When you say into zangaphakathi, just tell us more.
Usizobe si hold party bethu accountable Home Affairs. We want to talk to Home Affairs. We want to talk to immigration. We want to talk to Border Management Authority. We want to talk to our police system and Amasosha in Navy. We want to have meetings with those people. We don't want when we're having those meetings and sisane problem yabantu bokufika, because when we instruct Home Affairs to go and sort out the problem of borders, we want to say that to them, and they must be dealing with South Africans and proper people who are coming into the country. So that's why that's into zethu zangaphakathi.
So it seems like a lot of the issues you're raising, it's issues to do with the government. You're talking about crime, that's policing. You're talking about border management, that's also a government issue. Why the focus on the embassies and the immigrants as opposed to the government?
Because all these crimes involve immigrants. They involve illegal immigrants and foreigners. So we are saying let them get off the way so that we can deal with these things alone. So that's why.
But how will you identify, for example, if someone is a documented person or undocumented?
What do you mean?
Legal or illegal, documented or how will you identify? For example, if someone is in the country, how will you know Uguti they are here legally or not?
They must
legally?
say it. They must say it. That's why we talk to them. That's why we are peaceful. That's why we walk up to them and we ask them. And that's how they should be honest, because they are in a country. They must respect the country and tell us the truth. If he's here legally or not legally, then they must say. And we are also, when we are working, we also work with police. All our videos are with police. And in small towns, we also invite customs, immigration, and Home Affairs. So, and if we identify them, then we take that list and we send it to Home Affairs.
The list of people who are not documented?
That we are counted, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And